Okay, half an hour. Hopefully that's enough here. So, quiz number 5. Okay. Now, the topics that you have to know. First off, make sure that you guys remember that the main formula that you need to know for this is your slope-intercept formula. Or slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. Okay, so that's one huge equation that you need to know, that's basically in every problem that we've been doing. Okay, so that's one thing you gotta make sure you know. The next thing you need to make sure that you know, and it's going to be used for some questions, it's your slope formula. Okay, your slope formula, which is m equals to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, and I know for a lot of people, you know, I've heard some kids tell me like, yeah, it's just I was so used to using notes and stuff like that on tests, and I get that because, you know, during the pandemic, you guys pretty much use notes to help you guys out. I'm pretty sure most teachers understood that, and after that, when you came back to school, we let you guys use notes again, just because it was the first time you were back after a whole year of pretty much using notes all year. So we kind of let you guys wean off of them a little bit at a time, but now it's like no more notes, right? So make sure that you guys take some time to memorize these two equations. You're supposed to already know them, right? Math 3, that's algebra 2. You learned this in algebra 1, so they're assuming that you already remember it, so that's why they don't make a big deal about it in the lessons. Okay, so just try to make sure that you guys know that. Now remember, y2 and x2, that's 1 point, and then or should I say x2, y2 is 1 point, x1, y1 is another point. Okay, they're not the same points. You should not be subtracting the same points on top and the same points on the bottom. It's 1 point to another. Okay, always 1 point to another. So those are the two main things you guys got to make sure you know: your slope-intercept form and your slope formula. Now, the types of problems you're going to see. So example number 1. We're going to give you an equation. So let me put right here, right in slope-intercept form. Okay, so we're going to give you an equation, and then you're going to write it in y equals mx plus b form. So here's a quick equation. Let's say 4x minus 3y equals to 10. And I want you to write it in slope-intercept form, okay? Y equals mx plus b form. So that means you got to move everything around so that y is by itself. So let's move the 4x in this case, right? So let's subtract 4x. So that gives me negative 3y equal to negative 4x plus 10. All right, well, I still haven't solved for y, which means I still have to divide by negative 3. Okay, so dividing by negative 3, everything being divided by negative 3 is going to give me y equal to 4/3 x minus 10/3. And this is the answer they're going to be looking for on the test, something like that. Okay, so you're just solving for y. There's going to be 2 questions like this. All right, obviously not this one, but very much like it. Okay, so you're going to solve for y. Once you solve for y, you're done. Okay, then they're going to tell you, all right, now that you can solve for this equation, do you know how to use the equation? Okay, so second example, there's going to be 2 of these type of questions as well, and it's going to say graph the line. Now this is supposed to be easy, supposed to be, if you remember how to use the equation. Okay, so let me put a little chart here. I'll try not to make it too large here. We'll make it 3 by 3 so it doesn't require you to draw a big graph. So it's 3 to the right, 3 up, 3 down, 3 to the left. I'm just going to kind of label just the positive axes for us, okay? I'm just labeling the positive ones with real small, tiny numbers, okay? That way it doesn't create a big distraction. And then they're going to give us the equation of the line right now, okay? So here's the equation of the line. It's going to look like this. Y equal to, we'll say 1/3 x minus, we'll go minus 3. They want you to graph that line on that coordinate plane. Now, if you guys remember what I told you guys, that the way you kind of graph is that you have to know what your pieces mean, right? Your M is 1/3, right? Your M is the 1/3. And your B value is the -3. And I said, when you're going to graph, you need to know where to begin, right? So your B value is where you begin. So -3, I'm going to go over here and put a dot at -3. Okay, so there's my dot at -3. And then my slope is a positive 1/3, which means I have to go up and then over. Up 1, over 3 times. So up 1 over 3, I end up over here. That's 1 up and 3 to the right. So all I got to do is connect the dots, and I'm done with that problem. They're not requiring you to solve for y. They're not making you. I gave you guys the easier questions, not because I think that's what you're. It's just because why am I going to make you struggle finding something and then have to do something else once you do it? Like, I'm already making you find y in the first 2 questions. So why am I going to make you redo that again, right? So we'll just give it to you again. So these the questions 3 and 4, you're going to already have a nice equation given to you. Just know what your slope is, know what your intercept is, and use it to graph. Right?
What happens with like the 1/3 thing?
Then you would go down 1 and over 3 still. Yeah, you're still going to run right. They say go to the right. But up and down depends on whether M is positive or negative. So it's positive, you go up, negative, you go down. Any other questions on the graph? So again, you'll have 2 of these. It shouldn't take too long. Now, there is going to be 2, I think. Let me double check. Yeah, 2 questions like this. So example number 2, where they're going to say, graph the line. Now, they're not going to actually say that. They're going to say rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form and then graph it. I'm just going to write graph the line. I'll put a graph up here, just a real quick one. So let me put one up for us. I don't know how large it has to be, so I'm going to go a little bit more on the bigger side here. So it looks like I did a 5 by 5. There's my X and my Y axis. And then they're gonna give you guys an actual equation, like a full-on equation. So something that looks like this. Let's say 2x plus 3y equals to 6. Now, in order to graph it, if it's in standard form, this is what they call standard form. You could use, finding the x and y intercepts if you want to. But since we're doing this solving for y kick right now, right? Let's stick with that. So let's move things around so we solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 2x on both sides. So I get 3y equals to negative 2x plus 6. And then I'm going to divide everything by 3 so I can get y all by itself. So I get y equal to negative 2/3 x plus 2. All right, so what is my slope according to this problem? All right, negative 2/3. What's my y-intercept, my b value? 2. So if I'm going to graph, I need to know where to begin, right? So begin, I start at 2. So here's 2 on the y-axis. Remember, we always start on the y-axis because b is our y-intercept. Okay? And then from there, so Sam answering the question, what if it was negative? In this case, we're going to go downwards because the slope is negative, right? So I'm going to go down twice, 3 times over. So down 2 times, 3 times over, that's right here. Okay? If my slope was positive, I would have gone up twice, 3 times over. Okay? And there you go. Now I'm curious, the question you asked me the last time, Sam, about what if it was negative, were you asking me that question because what if I ran out of room? Oh, okay, because I noticed like this graph, if I would have had to have gone down like 2 steps, I would have run out of room, the top one. So I was wondering if maybe you were thinking like, well, what happens if I run out of room? What I used to do in high school, I used to draw extra little pieces, right? Just make my graph just a little tiny bit longer. There's other ways to do it, but that's what I used to, just draw a little extra. So, okay, right now I just thought, I'm like, you know what? I wonder if I'm not answering his question. Maybe he was wondering if we ran out of room, what do we do, right? So, are we okay with the example 3? I don't know why I put example 2. This should have been example 3. Anybody have questions on that one? Okay, just so you guys can see, the front of your quiz is going to look like this. Notice there's a lot of graphs. Okay, the back, no graphs. Okay, so for you guys, it's all going to be like, can you write me an equation if I give you this information? There's 4 different types of problems. Okay, and by the way, I do apologize if I'm not asking too many questions so that you guys can participate right now. It's just, again, we had 30 minutes. I kind of want to make sure we get through all of it, so I'm trying to kind of rush through it a little bit. But I am stopping to see if you have any questions. But yeah, so I'm gonna do an overall instruction here. Write the slope-intercept form given. So I'm gonna do example 4 A, B, C right now. Okay. So write the slope-intercept form given a slope and a y-intercept. Now this is as easy as it can get when it comes to writing a slope-intercept form, okay? Because they're literally giving you the slope and the intercept. So you don't have to find anything, it's literally right in front of you, okay? So to do this problem, you're gonna start out with y equals mx plus b. My m value is what? 2. So 2x. What's my b value? -1. And you're done. That's it. Remember I told you guys I wish they would give us tests only on these? I do really great on them in high school. But they don't. They always just give you like 1. And then they say, okay, now let's do the harder stuff, right? So there's going to be a question like that. Just that easy. You just find your pieces. You plug them in. All right? Part B. Same instruction. Write the slope-intercept form given the following. Okay, so we know that it's going to go through a point. Let's say -2, 4. And the slope, we'll say the slope is 2. No, let's not make it 2. Let's make it, let's make it a half. So it's going through that point and it has a slope of a half. So it's not like this problem is like insanely more difficult, but it does require a little bit more work than just plugging stuff in and being done, okay? I am still gonna start with what they want me to do. They want me to write that equation, so I'm gonna write it out, y equals mx plus b. Whatever is given to me, I'm gonna substitute in. So what piece is given to me? My slope, right? So y equals half x plus b. The piece that's missing is my b value. They didn't give it to me, but they did give me an xy value of negative 2 comma 4. So let me plug that in. Okay, y is 4 and x is negative 2. And notice the only thing left to solve for is the letter b. No more variables besides b. So again, this is where I'm going to tell you guys, make sure that you use your calculators properly. Half times negative 2 is negative 1 plus b. And all I have to do now is just add 1, and I solved for b. So 5 is equal to b. So notice, I'm just going to write it in a different color over here. M is half, and b is 5. That's what we just found. So let me write that into my equation now. Now that I know all my pieces, it's going to be y equals half x plus 5. So is it more difficult than part A? Yeah, there's more work, okay? Is it insanely difficult? Well, as long as you practice doing this, guys, it shouldn't be that hard to do. Just remember, if it's a point and a slope, plug in the point, plug in the slope, find B, and then you're pretty much done, right? You just have to remember, what do you do in this situation? And that comes through practice, okay? You gotta go over these things, practice them, okay? There's one more of these types, and then the last problem is a parallel problem, and I think I should have enough time. Yeah, so that's good. I'll be able to get through all the types of questions. So this one is going to be the toughest of them all, and it's going to say through, we'll say 2 comma 0, and we'll do 4 comma 8. All right, so if they give you 2 points, don't start with y equals to mx plus b immediately, because you don't have m and you don't have b, okay? But you do have 2 points, which means you can use the slope-intercept form, okay? So I'm going to start with that first. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, I'm starting with that to begin. Now, I'll label my points here. This is x1, y1, x2, y2. Guys, remember, it's xy per point. Okay, remember I told you guys I saw some people making a mistake where they labeled the first point x1, x2, and the second point y1, y2. That's not the way it is, right? How do you guys say it? That ain't it, right? X sub 1, y sub 1, xy. Okay, a point has both letters, xy. So you're going to call the first one x1, y1. The next one should be x2, y2. Okay? So make sure you don't mess that up, because if you mess that up, the whole problem's messed up. You're not going to get the right answer for sure. I guess there's still a chance you can guess it, but it's going to make it really hard. So let's go ahead and plug in our values here. M is equal to, y2 is 8 minus y1 is 0. Remember, I like to put parentheses around the second number in case there's a minus in it, then I can make sure I fix the stuff. And then x2 is 4 minus x1, that's 2. So my slope is 8 over 2, which is 4. So my slope is 4. So now I know my slope. So now that I know my slope, let's do what I did in part B. Y equals mx plus b. M is 4. 4x plus b. I still need my b value. But I'm going to do the same thing I did in the other problem. I'm going to pick a point, though, this time. Which one looks easier to you guys? 4, 8 or 2, 0? 2, 0. 0 is the best points to pick all the time whenever you got 0. So we'll try 2, 0. So 0 equals 4 times 2 plus b. So 0 is equal to 8. plus b. And now I'm just going to subtract 8. So b is equal to negative 8. Notice, guys, I have m here. I have b here. That's all I need. But this was a bit of a pain, right? A lot of work to do. So if you notice part A, hardly any work. Part B, a little bit of work. Part C has part B in it, right? This is part B, like this part right here. That's what we just finished doing. So, and then plus we had to figure out a slope, so even more work, right? So let's write our equation down here. Y is equal to 4x minus 8. And you're done. This is the hardest type question, I think, on the quiz. And you only have to do one of them, okay? We don't want to do 2 or 3, because then if you're not good at doing it once, then why are we going to punish you 2 more times, right? Show me you can do it once, then I get that you can do it twice, right? Show me you can't do it once, and possibly I'm saving you a little bit of grief from not making you do it again and again, right? So we'll see. But there's only one of those. Now the very last one, okay, last example. This is one of those parallel problems. So this would be example number 5. And then I'll be done. We still got 10 minutes, so we have enough time to finish. Write the slope-intercept form. So write the slope-intercept form of the line. And they're going to tell you 2 pieces of information. They're going to say it's going through some points. Let's say 1, negative 2. And then they're going to say it's parallel to y equal to, let's say, I'm trying to think. What would be good? 5x minus 2. Something like that. Write the slope-intercept form of the line through the point 1, negative 2, and that's parallel to y equals 5x minus 2. Does anybody remember what the first thing was that I did when I started doing these problems? What was the first thing I would write down? According to yesterday's notes. If a line has to be parallel, what must it have? Same slope. What's the slope? 5, well, not 5x, but just 5, right? So, first thing I did yesterday when I was teaching you guys this was I wrote down my slope, because I said, well, there's the answer to my slope. It's literally in the equation that they gave me. So, y equals mx plus b. M is 5. Now guess what I do in order to find b? Plug in a point. Notice that's kind of the same thing you do all the time, right? Plug in a point. Let's plug in 1, negative 2. So negative 2 goes here. 5 times the 1 goes here. Plus b. And 5 times 1 is 5. So negative 2 equals 5 plus b. If you subtract 5 on both sides, you get b equal to negative 7. So now you guys have your m value, your b value. That's all you need. So y equals 5x minus 7. And that's going to be what your quiz is on for tomorrow.